We are anonymous. We do not forgive. We do not forget. And we're here to tell you, the storm has arrived. I just meant there was a new Radiant Typhoon Link monster. I'm sorry. Good afternoon, Jank enthusiasts! I'm MBT, and this is 10-Minute Testing. It's always exciting when an archetype you write off gets a piece of support so powerful they're relevant. Like, hey, you go, guy. Welcome to the big leagues. If you asked me which of the Doom of Dimensions archetypes would make it to meta viability, I probably would have listed a couple dozen before I ended up here. So I'm thrilled to announce today's deck, an actual playable strategy, is Radiant Typhoon.
What did he just say?
He said there's a storm coming in.
So here's the list. As always, I'll give you a background about the archetype, a little bit of a discussion about what I hope the deck can do, and of course, the card by card. But first, this video is sponsored by Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck. Looking for a place to find inspiration for Genesis decks? Well, look no further. I've already spent years telling you about how Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck is the best repository of deck lists, strategy articles, third-party assistance with alternate ways to play Yu-Gi-Oh!, and card collection management on the internet. But right now, it's also the best way to find Genesis lists. You can sort by deck type, filter high-level tournaments to see what's been working, and download decks you see in any format you desire. That's why I'm proud to be sponsored by www.ygoprodeck.com. Now back to the video. With that, let's re-look at Radiant Typhoon. Radiant Typhoon is a series of monsters built off a meme. What if La MST negated? This stupid-ass Reddit tier premise has surprisingly resulted in a series of monsters so efficient they've been playable both in Genesis as the best deck while unpointed, and the TCG as a going first engine for Malice strategies. Still, it's just a little bit below the necessary power level for Advanced Constructed, and as a result, Radiant Typhoon was likely to remain notorious only as the deck of choice for the r/Master Duel posters who would occasionally stumble into locals. Until now. As Spiral has proven in the past, all a questionably playable meme deck needs to become competitive is a link to with text on it. And buddy, they got one with some pretty good text. Varun removes all decision-making from end boards, getting you everything you want every time, and is only exceeded in flexibility by this new main deck monster, Sheena. Technically a free agent, but come on. This monster bounces the board, perfect for protecting this deck's precious life points. Splash in a new spell, and I forecast a strategy that's, well, actually good. Something shocking to say after months of Justice Hunter's dominance. So with that, let's get into the card by card. First up, our old friends, 3 copies of Crocia, 3 copies of Swen, 3 copies of Eldam, 1 Megala, 1 Phonix the Great Flame, and 1 Little Varun. I guess I'll call the link Big Varun. We're playing 3 copies of Sheena, the Twin Storm Deities of Divine Thunder. This card's just unbelievable. When your opponent activates a card effect while you control a wind monster, as a quick, you can special summon this from your hand, then apply the effect based on that card's type. If it was a monster, you can return all face-up monsters on the field to the hand, except this one. And if it's a spell trap, you can return all spell traps on the field to the hand. Each time it would be destroyed by battle each turn. It is not destroyed once. After that, we've got our quick plays, 3 copies of MST, 3 copies of Vision, 3 copies of the new Radiant Typhoon Elation, which if destroyed by the effect of MST can be set and activates one of these effects, but of course that's a hard twice, one of each. Special summon a level 6 or lower Radiant Typhoon monster from your graveyard, or add an MST from your deck or graveyard to your hand. And 3 copies of Chant, 1 Mandate. For non-engine, we're on 3 Fuelos, and then a bunch of quick plays because they double as extenders, kind of. Forbidden Droplet, Forbidden Crown, get used to seeing this card, and the Fallen and the Virtuous. In the extra, we've got 2 copies of Radiant Typhoon Varun 2, the Sea Spirit. This card can be made with 2 Radiant Typhoons, and if link summoned, can add an MST from your deck or graveyard to your hand. As a slow, it can target 2 face-up monsters on the field, including a Radiant Typhoon, and put them face-up in their owner's spell and trap zones as continuous spells. And if a quick play spell card is activated except during the damage step, you can put a Radiant Typhoon continuous trap from your deck or graveyard face-up on your field. That's right, you no longer have to search Mandate with Crocia. After that, we've got 1 copy of SP Little Knight, a Varslagar, a Cicada King, a Totem Bird, a Typhon, a Zeus, 1 copy of Ecclesia of the Black Dragon, Mud Dragon of the Swamp, Garura, Azamina Illisilvia, Albion the Branded Dragon, Secretarion, and Saint Azamina. In the side, we've got 3 Mulcharmy Perulia, the 2nd copy of Megala, 3 Ash Blossom, 2 Droll, triple Super Polymerization, and 3 Evenly Matched. So with that, let's check out some games. Our first match is up against Lunalite, and I'll be honest, something funny happens in this game, which is why it's in the set. We're going first, and our hand looks pretty good. We're going to begin with a copy of Vision in the draw phase. That's going to grab us a couple of cards, and then at point of resolution, we can activate the effect of the Crocia in order to grab an MST and an Eldam from deck. We'll go to the main phase and special summon out the Eldam, activating the effect in order to grab a Swen, which we will then special summon. We'll activate the effect, and our opponent will chain a Foolos. Okay, fine, we'll give you a draw. We are going to go into a copy of Varun 2, giving them a draw, and they will Foolos again. Okay, we're done, fine. We'll go for Elation here, summoning from the Yard a copy of Megala, and then trigger the effect of the Varun for a mandate, setting 4 and passing turn. Our opponent's going to begin with a copy of Foolish Burial. That's going to send a Yellow Martin to the graveyard to grab them a Lunalite Fusion. From here, they can normal summon a Gold Leo. We probably have to lock that with our Forbidden Crown, and then afterwards, we're going to go for a Lunalite Perfume, to which we will chain Vision. At point of resolution, they will get back their Yellow Martin, but we will be able to trigger the effect of the Megala in order to summon a Varun 1 from deck. Now, that is a monster effect activation, which gets them triple Tactics Thrust into Heavy Polymerization. As they go for Lunalite Fusion, we're going to go for the effect of the Mandate and MST and Mandate in order to negate the Lunalite Fusion, forcing them onto the Heavy Poly and down to 2,500 life points. From here, they do unfortunately get to Liger Dancer. They're going to go Black Sheep, we'll go Varun, they'll go Liger Dancer. We will go for our powerful hand trap, Sheena, which bounces our board and gets us material for next turn, though doesn't impact our opponents. They're going to go to battle phase, and unfortunately, though they can attack twice, this isn't lethal because the Gold Leo is locked. We'll draw for turn, and okay, so this is the weird part of the game against Lunalite, where we just sort of have to get them to fire the Liger Dancer so we can actually win the game. We're going to go for Crocia here. We'll go for Elation afterwards. We'll chain the effect of MST, chain the effect of Mandate. Just trying to trick them here on the Liger Dancer, honestly. Out comes Eldam. We'll trigger its effect and the effect of Varun. We're just like firing as many effect activations as possible, hoping they decide something is worth using Liger Dancer on. Let's shuffle a bunch of cards back. We'll special summon out Swen. Okay, they're not falling for it. We do have one other option, but oh, I dare not say it. It's just too funny to speak into existence. We can tribute summon Phonics, and then it isn't special summoned. Listen, I've tribute summoned a lot of Nibirus in my time for lethal. That's how the deck performs on the play. What does it do on the draw? Well, our opponent for game 2 is on Vanquish Soul Canine, and they are going first. They're going to begin with a copy of A Case for Canine, and then afterwards going to go for Yokel. Yokel effect here is going to summon itself into this copy of Izuna, who will trigger. We will chain Foolos, and they let it resolve. Wow. They're going to go for Lupus and then Ripper. We'll draw one. They'll activate the effect of the Ripper in order to grab a copy of Izuna and set a copy of Forced Release, and then just pass there. I kind of like it. We will go for Elation in the draw phase. That's going to grab us an MST. Then we'll activate the MST on the set card to force out the Forced Release. Afterwards, we can go for the Fallen of the Virtuous to eat their last remaining point of interaction and summon the Crocia into a Ghost Bell. Okay, that's not fantastic, but we're still in a great position. We're going to go for the Swen. We'll activate the effect. We will go get from deck to hand a Chant. We'll activate Chant and grab an Eldam. We'll special summon out the Eldam and activate its effect in order to grab a Megala. From here, our opponent's going to go for the effect of the K9 Izuna and the effect of the Lupus as well. Afterwards, I can activate the effect of the Izuna and the effect of Lupus into our Sheena. Sorry, dog. All of that is leaving. We'll special summon out the Megala and the Swen to go into Varun. Then we'll activate Varun's effect in order to grab an MST. We'll MST the Case for K9. Then afterwards, we can trigger the effect of the Varun as they trigger the effect of Case for K9. Pretty fair trade in my estimation because we get Mandate live. We'll shuffle a bunch of cards back and draw, go to the battle phase, get in for 300 plus 32, and then afterwards we can just go ahead and link off for an SP Little Knight, get their last remaining card, and set this Forbidden Droplet. At end step, we will be able to set a copy of the Fallen of the Virtuous, courtesy of Albion, and pass back to them. Our opponent's going to begin with a copy of Lantern, targeting their Yokel. They will use it to summon out the Yokel, at which point we can Fallen of the Virtuous in order to destroy our opponent's Yokel, and trigger the effect of the Crocia as well. That will summon the Crocia into an Ash Blossom, which is not that big of a deal because we still are able to contest their Nash Knight into CXC's Nash Knight simply by going for the Forbidden Droplet. We will sink it down, and it will not be able to walk over the SP Little Knight. From here, we should just be able to do the old hop, skip, and a jump to lethal. We'll go Eldam effect in order to grab a Swen effect, get from our deck to our hand a copy of Elation, and go to the battle phase, hitting for 13, 16, and lethal. So it's time for game 3, and you know what that means, a best of 3 versus meta. Our opponent's playing what else but Branded Dracotail. Oh god, they've already got Walbaz. Get excited to hear that a lot. We're going to begin with Swen into Chant. We'll activate the Chant to get a copy of Eldam, and then the Eldam will trade for a Crocia. We don't really have a convincing normal here, so let's just tribute summon it over the Swen. We'll activate the effect into a Foolos. Okay, we're going to have to give them a couple of draws. It is what it is. We will link off for Big Varun. They will draw one. We'll activate Varun's effect in order to grab an MST, and special summon a Megala, activate Elation, and chain MST, so at point of resolution, we can activate activate the effect of the Elation and the Megala and Big Varun. We will do so, and then we will grab a copy of Lil Varun from deck, which will draw them another card. We'll set Mandate and 3 others, full back row, and pass back to our opponent. In draw, they're going to begin with the Fallen of the Virtuous, contesting Lil Varun into Fallen of White Dragon to summon itself, and an Ecclesia from deck. From here, they can make an 8. They will do so with Zorua. They'll activate its effect. We will chain the Fallen of the Virtuous here in order to remove it from the field, and then afterwards they can activate Ecclesia, activating it, targeting our Mandate. Now, we do get to draw off the Mandate, but don't be afraid. We will see it later in the turn. Our opponent's going to go Ketu and then fusion summon an Arthalion. Arthalion here is going to target a whole bunch of monsters. They're going to trigger Urgula and Pan. I'm going to try and strand the graveyard by using Forbidden Crown, and then chain Elation to bring back Crocia as well. They're going to set a Rahu from deck and get rid of the Megala, setting a Flame as well, getting rid of our last remaining card, the MST. We'll trigger the effect of Big Varun and Crocia here in order to reset the Mandate as they go for Rahu. I'm not super threatened by this. They're going to go for Arthalion into Frixel. We will mandate to draw another card, just more opportunities at hand traps or non-engine or extenders for next turn, and they're going to set a Rahu as well. So we know Horn, Rahu, Flame as they normal summon Lucius off of the Urgula activation. They're going to go for 5 mana here for Secretarion into Malulu to set the last copy of Rahu and negate the effect of our Crocia. From here, the Secretarion can bring back Malulu, and they'll go to the battle phase, getting in for 5 and 2 and nothing else, because of course this is under Crown. Now, despite the fact that they have a full back row, I actually feel pretty comfortable about our position here. We'll activate the effect of the Albion at end step and draw for turn. Okay, so first and foremost, we're going to begin with the Fallen of the Virtuous, targeting this copy of Malulu. They're going to chain Flame. We will chain Mystical Space Typhoon on this card, and they will chain Malulu, so that we do not get the Mandate negate. They will make Gulamel here, which is also horrifying. We get to go for the effect of Lil Varun. They get to go for the Malulu, and they get to sting away our Lil Varun because that was a Draco Tail. They can also pop our Mandate, but again, the Mandate doesn't stay in grave for long. We summon out Phonix, but unfortunately it instantly gets negated. That's fine, just bodies on board is good enough. We'll go for the Ecclesia in graveyard to shuffle their last remaining scary card into Swen, into Big Varun. Big Varun is going to grab us an MST, and we can MST this known copy of Flame in order to trigger Big Varun and Phonix. We will summon it back and grab Mandate again. I told you it would come back. We'll go Chant effect, and from here we can use Phonix in order to bounce all of their fusion monsters as we special summon out an Eldam and grab a copy of Crocia. We'll go Vision, and then afterwards we can trigger the effect of the Crocia, summoning it from our hand in order to grab a couple of cards, one of which of course is an MST, which represents a negate. We'll go for Megala, and then use Varun's effect to tuck them back to the back row. We will go for the effect of the Mandate and proceed to the battle phase, where all of our monsters will be increased into just enough. 800 plus 16 plus 25 plus 33. Told you we'd do it. So it's time for game 2, and okay, this is a pretty good going second hand. All right, our opponent's going to begin with a copy of Ecclesia. They'll activate the effect of the Ecclesia, we'll chain Fuelos, and they'll summon a Wowbaz from deck. This is kind of one of the big weaknesses of Wowbaz. They can go for Wowbaz, bring back Ecclesia from Yard, but they still have to synchro summon into Ecclesia and then use its effect for a Cartesia, which is another Fuelos draw. They're going to set 2 and pass turn. We will draw for turn. They will go to main phase. They'll activate the effect of the Ecclesia into a Wowbaz, and Wowbaz bring back this copy of Ecclesia from Yard. Cartesia here allows them to go into the Dragon that devours the Dogma, and that's actually kind of difficult for us to out. They're going to go for the Fallen of the Virtuous, targeting their own monster, which of course is unaffected, so they can go into Albion. We will go Radiant Typhoon Crocia, and then activate the effect of Elation, chaining MST, so we can pop it and resolve it at resolution. We will set it to our side of the field, as well as summon Phonix the Great Flame. From here, we'll go to main phase 2 into Suen. Suen is going to grab us a Chant as we make our way to Varun. We'll activate the Chant in order to grab an Eldam, then trigger Varun in order to set a Mandate. We'll special summon out the Eldam, activate the effect in order to grab a copy of Megala, and then use MST targeting our last remaining card in order to trigger the Megala and the Elation in order to reset it and summon from deck Lil Varun. We'll trigger the effect of the Mandate to draw a card, and we're pretty much in control of this game. We just have to figure out a way to out the dragon that devours the Dogma. We'll go Totem Bird set 3 Varslagar here in order to shuffle back the Albion. Our opponent's going to go for Bestial Magnamut. They're still going to get a lot back at end step, which is a little frightening. They'll resolve the Magnamut, and then afterwards they can Cartesia as well as get back the Ecclesia, the Black Dragon. They'll draw for turn, and what a rip. We're trying to keep this Ecclesia out of the grave, but they do have the Ghost Spell and Haunted Mansion. Down comes the Cartesia. We will Super Poly here the remaining monsters away for a Secretarion. Then we can Phonix everyone back into the deck, except of course for the unaffected monster. They can shuffle back the Ecclesia by shuffling from their banished zone. They will go for Malulu. We will activate Elation and MST so we can use the Mandate to negate the Malulu, putting them in a position where it's basically just the dragon that devours the Dogma or bust. We'll go for the effect of the Crocia and Little Varun, and Elation popped off the MST before we go to the battle phase and take a little bit of damage off this dragon. So we just have to figure out a way to out a 3,500 attack point guy. We're going to begin with Vision. That'll get us a couple of cards. We're going to trigger the effect of the Phonics, targeting it once again because it's funny to do so. We'll go for Mandate to shuffle 3 back and then draw. From here, we can go Elation to special from the yard, back the Swen here, whose effect will trigger, and grab us a copy of Chant. Let's go for SP into MST, target the Mandate. That triggers the Lil Varoon and brings it back on our way to Tribute Summon Sheena into Big Varoon. Big Varoon is going to allow us to cycle as we go for Elation once again into Varoon trigger, into Mandate to draw another time, and we are just about there. Specialing out the Eldam gets our Phonics to 36. We will Chant here, just trying to win the game. Activate the effect of the Crocia to our side of the field, and I believe that's 8,000 points of damage. We'll go Battle, get over for 100, and then Direct for 35, 28, 19, and 6. Took a while, but we got there. So we're back with the deck, and wow, a forfer. Let's do the pros and cons. First, the pros. 1, the new themed cards are so good. The link is just so important. It means you don't have to search the trap off of Crocia, which gets you a billion more resources. It's also amazing removal. It's more copies of MST, but Elation is also really good for pushing damage, for reviving bodies, for link plays, for Megala to summon more later. It's just an extra name, and of course it puts a body back on the field for Sheena. 2, on the topic of Sheena, Sheena is unbelievable. It clears boards, it lets you dodge interaction, it can eat all 3 Draco Tail back row at once. It's a huge boon to the deck and lets you play going second a lot better. And 3, the deck is kind of splashable. Dark Lord, Fiendsmith, all these decks are capable of playing Radiant Typhoons to some degree. This is going to show up some places. And the cons. 1, build variation is too different. This is a strange con, but finding the best version of this deck is probably going to take some time since there's so many different ways you can play it. You might be registering something suboptimal for a while, and it's possible you'll come back to the TMT 6 months from now and laugh at me because of the build above. 2, since your non-engine space overlaps with quick plays for enablers, you don't really have the option to play a huge suite of hand traps like you would in something else. And 3, it's a little soft to good monster removal. If end boards start to prioritize that, it may be difficult to establish a setup. All in all, we've spent months with the same 3 decks over and over, but look no further, the storm is here. So that's that. Thanks so much for watching. These videos are made possible by, and occasionally suggested by, my patrons, some of whom have handed me a lump sum in order to be mentioned at the end of this video. Those people are Absolutely Fran, Elena Tincher, Allison Elliott, Ally, APK Pearly Tier 0, Brett Henry, Broski TCG, Cap, Cool Name, Damon O'Neill, Dark Rebel XYZ, DJ Elefante, El Gravo, Emiliano Deverio, NB Adams, Fabrizio Petroli, Galactic Joey, Hergalicious, Jackie Z, James Place, JP, Cole Offline, Legal Rights, Lucas Rosas, Luis Hernandez, Master Key 090, Matthew M. Derezo, MBT Hablando en Español, MBT Play Medolce, Mike Carlotti, N54 Lionheart, Nacho, Pombo, Pyramid Artisan Field Cloths, TCG Accessories, Ransom My Thing, Rohan Doge, Rose Lapine, Serpentax, Shifter.mp8, Sly Ninja 43, Troy Says By Erasure is Gay, Who's Nick, Yuki Kazami, and Zircon Sun. Couldn't have done it without you.